Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It is finally Friday. 6 minutes after the hour. It's finally Friday, September 6th, 2019. Temperature outside 66 degrees right now. We're looking for a high, not very high, 77 maybe, if we get that high. What's this is your last day of summer wear on the show? Is that right, Shane?
Yeah, it is. I swear it was just unbelievably beautiful here yesterday. It was
Yeah.
80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, and a bit humid. And I'm thinking, now we're in September.
Yeah.
I mean, and now we're getting you know like the July weather.
Yeah, July or August, the 90-degree
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I was sitting out on the deck yesterday. It's 90 degrees out there on the deck yesterday, and but it was beautiful. It was
Oh
not
yeah.
we're not too humid here. That's the good thing that
Oh yeah.
we're a dry heat, so you're not sitting out there sweating to death. And well, if you're out there mowing the yard or working, you're going to work up a sweat, I think. But for the most
Well, yeah.
part, pretty nice.
Yeah, if I'm there a week, I got to moisturize. My hands literally start drying out, and my skin starts to crack.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
dry there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
it is dry here. That's for sure. Yeah,
Yes, I have soft, supple,
I know. I
skin,
know. Yeah,
skin because of it's not dry
you're.
here.
I'll tell you.
Humid.
Your hands are dry from counting money. That's why they're dry.
Yeah, right. I wish, like, I wish I had bags of money. No, I get around in my chicken legs just fine.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
Well, our weather, as I said, going to change a little bit. Rain likely, then showers and possibly a thunderstorm afternoon today. The high near 77. Chance of precipits 90%, and rainfall could be quarter to half an inch. So this could be a serious rainfall. So be careful out there, and if you need to get your mowing done, you better get it done before noon. Because
Right, there you go.
it may pour wherever you are today. Tonight, rain and a possible thunderstorm again before 10 p.m., then rain lightly overnight. 52 will be the low overnight. Chance of precip again 90%, and another quarter to half inch is possible tonight. So we're going to get some. We're going to get some rain, and then on Saturday, a 40% chance of rain, high near 73. And then Saturday night, we're going to have a low of around 49. No rain predicted in that forecast, but rain likely on Sunday, mainly in the afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 70, and about a 70% chance of rain on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And and then, of course, Sunday night, rain before midnight, showers likely, and a possible thunderstorm after midnight, low of 49. And again, on Sunday night, the chance of precip is 90%. So it's gonna be a nasty weekend for the Bobcats. May be playing over there in a downpour on Saturday. But
Well, it was a beautiful night last night in Chicago watching the first NFL game of the season.
yeah,
Year 100. Here we go.
yeah, 100 years of the NFL. Pretty good game, all things considered. 10-3. Not a lot of scoring, but a lot of defense. And well, it's first game. Everybody's still trying to figure out where they're supposed to go, and all that. So should be.
Well, they're in a defensive league, and it was a defensive game, right?
That's true. It certainly was. Yeah. Well, temperatures around the area right now, 58 degrees in Livingston. Manhattan's 59. Three Forks is 59. At Gallatin Gateway, we're looking at 60. Ennis, 62. Big Sky, 57. And at the airport in Belgrade, it's 60 degrees, and we're right at 66 here. In fact, it was coming in this morning, Shane, my van registered 70 at, so I don't know. That's pretty warm for overnight, but at any rate, that's where I was. Our poll question yesterday, do you agree with Walmart's new gun and ammo policy? As we talked about yesterday, they're going to quit selling certain types of ammo and handguns and certain things, or ammo for handguns, I should say.
Right, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Correct myself. 77% of you said no. Most people are responsible gun owners. They don't agree with Walmart's policy. And yes, 11% said yes, these are dangerous weapons. And some of the other comments, I buy from our local stores anyway. Walmart can kiss my, whatever. And sell bullets to kill animals, but bullets to protect my home and family, no way. I don't like it, but a free market. They have the right to sell what they want. And another comment, last time I shop at Walmart, they just capitulated to the enemy. We'll no longer shop there. As a capitalist, right. I support Walmart's right to choose what to sell or not to sell. So that was our poll question of yesterday. Our poll question today: did you have a good childhood? Did you have a good childhood, for Shane?
No.
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 You didn't? No. Okay.
No.
Well, in early voting, 44% said yes, great family. 22% said no, dysfunctional family. And,
yes.
And 11% somewhat both good and bad. And a couple other comments. Two remarkable girls, and we'll find out how many liars are listening.
Well, I thought the question was, did I have children?
Oh no, did you have a good childhood?
Oh, I misread it. I put down, yes, and one remarkable girls. That was me.
Oh, okay. So, well, that's true. You did have two remarkable girls.
Well, it's sort of like the first thing I do in the morning when I turn on the computer. I go and check you out, you know, because I turn on the news to see if anything horrific's happening.
Right.
You know, while I was
same
sleeping.
Here.
I want to oh my God, did something terrible happen, right? But sorry, okay,
no,
that was me.
That'd be okay. Yeah. Well,
I promise to get it right on Monday because today is Friday. Okay?
That's right. Well, not everybody has children. I don't have children, at least none that speak English.
Yeah. So. This is oh my God. Too much information. This is Forgiving Friday. Okay, that's what we want.
Forgiving Friday.
Everybody.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have a big family. You know.
Well, that's true.
How big it is, so. You know.
Okay, so you're going to forgive your family of all their ills, or?
No, our family. Yours and my family.
Oh, okay.
KMMS.
Oh, the KMMS family.
Wow,
okay, all right.
Okay, get up, leave, and come back in, will you? Because I can't do this all morning.
I know. Well, it's Friday. We're
forgiving.
Yeah, I guess we're forgiven for all the excess. So. Well, anyway, guess what? We're not going to England this morning. We're not going to the 1700s or the 1500s. We're going to 1916 because that's when the first self-service grocery store, Piggly Wiggly, was opened in Memphis, Tennessee by Clarence Saunders.
It's really an amazing story.
It's still around.
It's still around. That's right.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was sort of like. We have IGAs, Independent Grocery Association, up here, similar. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Piggly Wiggly is owned now by C&S Wholesale Grocers. It's one of the top 100 private corporations in the United States.
Yep.
It's founded as you said, in 1916. But CS Wholesalers was founded in 1918. They bought Piggly Wiggly's, or they didn't buy it, they licensed it because Piggly Wiggly was the independently franchised stores. So the C&S grocers, said, well, we'll take this area and so on and so forth. Anyway, long story short, they're in Keene, New Hampshire. They have over 50 distribution centers in 16 states, and they do $30 billion a year with 17,000 people.
Yeah.
So, Piggly Wiggly itself. They have 2 corporate stores and 46 independent stores still open. Mm-hmm. The original Piggly Wiggly, now that was around, it disposed of assets and was dissolved in 2014. But good old C&S is still holding on, and of course they compete with the giants, Giant, Cartel, Giant Landover, Stop and Shop, Safeway, Winn-Dixie, Target Corp, and so forth. You have a
Kroger,
couple.
yeah, Kroger's in there.
Kroger,
Yeah.
regional. You have regional. What's the one from Idaho that's trying to open?
Winco.
Winco, yeah. So
yeah,
quite fast. It's a great industry. We should talk about it someday because food is relatively important.
it really is. Yeah.
I'll look it up for
Okay.
maybe Monday. Maybe Monday.
Maybe Monday we'll do a segment on food. You're already making me hungry.
Yeah.
Well, in 1941, unfortunately, Jews over the age of 6 in German-occupied areas were ordered to wear yellow Star of David. Yellow Stars of David, I should say, I guess. Yeah, they were marked so that you would know who they were.
Yeah, that's right. And this was pushed forward by Himmler and
Goebbels
and Goebbels and Hitler.
Yeah.
And a speech, the annihilation of the Jews speech that Hitler made on December 12th, 1941. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't know how many phone calls I'm going to get, but I'm going to say it anyway. Once again, the Democratic Party. 300 Jewish organizations attempted to provide information to the United States President Franklin Roosevelt. There's a list. They tried to contact the New York Times. They were all turned. The St. Louis with 900 Jews on it came to the United States, and Franklin Roosevelt turned them away. The Auschwitz occurred, which was the annexing of Austria in March of 1938. A year before the war started. And no one would stand and support them. Yeah. The British were like putting them. You think what's going on in Israel's bad now? Back then, what they were doing to keep them from preventing any Jews from getting there from Europe. I mean, anyway, everybody was somehow guilty and involved in this thing that occurred in World War II, and the only one that tried to speak to it was Winston Churchill, and England did take in, thousands, tens of thousands of Jews, and so did Canada, which is why, the most Jews in the world are in Canada, number one, and New York. You are in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's more Jews in Canada and the United States than Israel, so
that's true. Yeah. All right, we've got to take a quick break here. We've got to take care of farmers, ranchers, cab drivers, truck drivers, all the people that bring you food, booze, and clothing, and we'll be right back. We've also got a Montana Headwaters livestock report. They're going to have a big sale coming up, so pay attention to that. Big Sky Mattress, of course, wants to talk to you. Jay Owen House will be in next week. We're going to give away tickets to that as well, and more things, so stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome back to the morning show. It's Friday, September 6th, 2019. The KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane is on the air live 26 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. And it is Friday, October. Man, it's Friday. It's September 6th, 2019.
It's Friday.
I don't know. I don't even know what month it is. I'm starting to sound like Biden.
Oh my God! Don't go there.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. 65 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the 70s today with rain, lots of rain. Stay tuned. Exactly. Stay tuned for that. So. Let's see. In 1970, on this date, Palestinian guerrillas seized control of 3 jet airliners, which were later blown up on the ground in Jordan after the passengers and crew were evacuated. So at least they were empty planes they blew up, 3 of them.
So I tried to look up details about this specific one, which of course I can, but I'm not going to go into because I want to make this comment to people. The first notable aircraft hijacking was 1910.
Yeah.
In that decade, it was actually 1919.
Yeah.
And a Hungarian Soviet Republic, Franz Nopska, Zelia.
Yeah.
Aftershave. Seized a plane at gunpoint in Budapest to fly to Vienna. Now, that in itself is okay. So then there's 2 in the 20s. There's 3 in the 30s, there's 5 in the 40s, and then there's like 6 in the 50s, and in the 60s, there's like 2 dozen.
Yeah.
And then in the 70s, there's like 50.
Yeah. Everybody wants parachutes and the money. Parachutes and money.
They had to be all Democrats, Tom. I mean, the number of hijacks in the 70s was unbelievable.
Yeah.
In the 80s was really bad. The decade. I mean, like, I'm talking about like 3 dozen.
Yeah.
And then the 90s was bad. Again, like maybe 2 dozen. It started quieting down. And in the 2000s, like the first decade of this century, there's like they're all over the place. I mean, this is happening constantly. It's like a broken record. I mean, you know, I'm so upset. I think I'm going to go take a free plane ride somewhere. Like, wow. Yeah. Even after 9/11, there's still been hijackings. It's just incredible.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this portion of the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Thanks for joining us on your morning commute or wherever you're going today or whatever you're doing. We appreciate you being there with us and us being there with you, and we're happy to do that. So coming up at 7 o'clock, we had Kevin Maxwell was scheduled in yesterday. He's going to make it in today. We've got a suicide walk coming up on Saturday. So we want to talk a little bit about that. We talked a little bit about suicides yesterday, but we'll get into a little more detail about some of the signs and things you're going to look for, and if someone is contemplating ending their life for some reason or other. And not a happy topic for a Friday, but we're gonna cover it anyway because it is a serious issue here in Montana. We'll be back with more Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane right after the news. Stay tuned. So, all right, where are we? Where were we? What are we doing?
It's just sports for this day. Nothing really exciting.
Okay. All right. Let's see. 1975, Czechoslovakian tennis player Martina Navratilova in New York for the U.S. Open requested political asylum. And we remember that. Great tennis player. Went on to, I think, 5 Wimbledons she won or something like that. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and wasn't she a big leader in the LGBT campaign?
Yeah. She was, well, I don't know what she was.
Oh, no, I'm just saying she was,
Yeah, she was. You're right.
And other things. But the great thing about her is she was one of those athletes that accelerated the wages paid, particularly to women as well, right? She was such a great athlete. Oh, my God. It was really cool watching her. I mean,
That would
mean, all those people are they have incredibly nice bodies, obviously. But, when you see women in those little short white skirts and they're running back and forth and hitting that ball, it's like, wow, it's like women loving watching the NFL with those tight pants on. Right?
I guess I don't know.
Oh, come on, you know that.
Okay, if you say so.
Don't you remember back in the 70s or 80s when the NFL went to tight pants because they wanted to get more women watching the game? Come on.
I don't know about that.
It's a truism.
All right. Well, in 1996, Eddie Murray wasn't watching the girls. He was hitting home runs. He hit his 500th during a game against the Detroit Tigers back in the day. And in 1997, on this date, Britain bid farewell to Princess Diana with a funeral service at Westminster Abbey all the way back in 1997. I wonder what would happen if she had not died. Her and Charles got divorced, and
they were divorced. And he was living with his Camilla love.
The no mirrors in that house.
Well, it's just it's an overall sad story because
it is.
The royal family never accepted her, and she had changed the monarchy and the family lifestyle for good, meaning like for a good thing. To make it, they didn't like the fact she made it look more common. Yeah. And that's sort of regrettable because I think, like yesterday, you saw yesterday, her grandchildren.
Oh, yeah.
Her son's daughter and son were going to school. It was all around the world. They were out and she had a pigtail, looked so cute. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to normal schools in England. They're not going to private schools. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, and also too, she was beloved around the world. I mean, she took over the monarchy completely. I mean, the Queen was kind of shadowed over, and I think that's one reason the Queen didn't like her was she was extremely
Yeah.
popular and embraced a lot of worthy causes.
Well, and that's what they wanted her to do. So she
Yeah,
does an outstanding job, and then
yeah.
they excommunicated her basically, which
Yeah.
is so sad. Yeah.
Well, they all go out and do philanthropic work, but she was so well accepted for it. And, if she showed up somewhere, people showed up, gave money and whatever to whatever cause she was involved in. And she had a lot of power.
Yeah, well, Charles was a little bit bent anyway, wasn't he? Like in
Well,
his 50s?
yeah.
He was like in his 50s when he married her, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he 50 or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. He was, it wasn't a marriage made in heaven, that's for sure. So
No, or on Earth.
or on earth either. Yeah. So they say there's somebody for everybody. Well, Camilla got Charles, so
Yeah, lucky too.
there we go. All right, now we can go over the commercials, and we tried to play early. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be right back right after this. 17 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6, 2019. 64 degrees outside. 77 is our high expected today. About a 90% chance of rain and lots of it. So that should be starting any time. And right now we're talking about this day in history. Back in 2001, Barry Bonds of the San Francisco Giants became the 5th player in baseball history to hit 60 home runs in a season. He finished the year with a record 73 homers, and of course, this was during the steroid era. Barry could barely walk to the to the plate. He was so bulked up, but
Yeah, I know. It's
like swinging a toothpick at a basketball. Get these babies out of the ballpark here, right and left,
God.
man. He and McGuire.
Now that Eagle Man is a priceless analogy. Okay?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. He's swinging that thing like it's a toothpick.
Well, yeah, because I couldn't pick a toothpick up.
No. Well, Barry couldn't bend over that far, probably, but I think they handed him his bat. So.
Yeah, that's why they have bat boys, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, he had to have a Humvee to drive. Couldn't get in a regular car. Yeah, he was bulked up pretty good, and I don't know if they have an asterisk next to his homers or not. I guess we'll have to. I guess the history will tell.
Yes, that's right.
2004. I don't remember this. 2004. Former President Bill Clinton, in other words, underwent successful heart bypass surgery. I'll get it in a minute.
Oh yeah, that he did. He passed out, and they thought he was having a stroke, and so they rushed him to Mount Sinai, and they did an angiogram, which I've told you the story where I died. You know, I died for 4 minutes. Well, legally dead because I was gone for 4 minutes, but they resuscitated me. And they put in stents, and but they said no. They put in stents, but then they said no, he needs a bypass.
Yeah.
2 of his coronary arteries were blocked, 85%. So they did the big zipper job.
Mm-hmm.
That's a horrific piece of surgery.
It really is. Yeah. It's pretty terrific. But
they chainsaw your rib cage.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then they pull it apart. Like
they do. Yeah.
They have these spacers.
You got to spread it. Yeah. You got to spread it to get in there.
I mean, if you've ever looked at pictures, if you're queasy, don't go. But if you can, go on YouTube and watch an open heart surgery video, and you'll go, "Oh my God!" It's like you would think they were trying to get to the lungs of a cow. Okay.
Wow.
No, the way they do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even if they just pulling on this person's body and pulling the skin back. Oh my God! It's unbelievable.
Well, thanks for that vision.
Well, it's Friday. Remember,
we appreciate that. Yeah. Well, so Gore was president for a while.
No, he was.
If the president is under sedation, the vice president takes control when
Yeah.
When Bush
exactly.
had his colonoscopy,
And
yeah.
Reagan got shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
you're right. So, what's Gore complaining about?
Well, he's complaining like
He was president for what, a day and a half or 2 days? Something like
yeah,
that.
but he's complaining like Biden. You know, there was never a celebration where they played "Hail to the Chief." Right?
Oh, yeah, okay. He didn't get to make a big speech, I guess. So.
Yeah, that Sousa version of dun 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 dun.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, in 2005, the California legislature became the first legislative body in the nation to approve same-sex marriages. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger later vetoed the bill, but it is the law of the land now in most states.
Yeah, and you know, he vetoed it because he cited Proposition 22, which had passed by a vast majority 5 years earlier, and the massive support of African Americans because they don't like, you know, what do they call it, down under? Down under.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. And then the court said, no, you're all wrong. This is, it's one of those things. You know, the courts decided. But anyway.
In 2006, President George W. Bush acknowledged previously secret CIA prisons around the world and said 14 high-value terrorism suspects had been transferred from the system to Guantanamo Bay for trials. And,
all right, Righteous Eagle Man, here comes the question, the hypothetical question of the day.
Yeah.
You are president of the United States. And the general comes in. Now, you know how Trump does this. You know, so a general comes in and says, Mr. President, sir. And you go, yes. Mr. President, sir, we have this terrorist. And he says he knows that there's a nuclear bomb in the United States. And you say,
yes.
And then he says, Mr. President, we can't under the law do anything to force him to tell us. And he says we'll go off at any time. What do you want us to do? And you say,
rip out his fingernails, pliers in the appropriate spots, and waterboard him, and
electrical shock.
Start cutting off limbs, whatever it takes. Let's find where this
Thank
is.
You. There you go. There's your hypothetical.
That's exactly what. If I'm president, impeach me, but I'm finding out where the bomb is.
All right. So anyway. Yeah, this was a huge thing because of the way it fell into the public, right? It was one of these things that was sort of backdoored by the media.
Yeah,
which means someone leaked it. Anyway, long story short, the two countries that were responsible for the CIA to have this, and I love this, is Poland and Romania. And that's where most of their black sites were. And you've seen the movie. They had a couple of ships offshore as well. But it's one of these things that, when you decide to take on the responsibility and terrorism, especially like the U.S. did for the world, you sort of wanted to make sure, right? I mean,
I want to make sure. All right, we got to take another quick break. We got the Bryan Law Firm. We've got Bob Seger concert coming up. And, of course, what morning would be complete without Babel?
Ta-da-ta-da.
We'll be right back. 7 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6, 2019, 64 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s. Rain most of the day, so you're going to get wet if you're wandering around today. So take an umbrella, your rain slick, or whatever you need with you, and so that you won't be caught by surprise. From our text line, 478-8298. Gee, Shane, thanks for killing my appetite for breakfast. That's from Tam. And there's a bad wreck at the intersection of Jackrabbit and Valley Center. That was at 4 o'clock that came in yesterday, I guess. So that's probably been cleared up by now. It popped up as today, but it tells me it's yesterday. Let's see. Not all Trump critics are Democrats. Some are actual conservatives. Many of us conservatives are angry at how Trump has corrupted the GOP. He's a brilliant salesman, makes Republicans buy liberal ideas. Makes us buy liberal ideas. How's that work, Shane? I don't know.
I think I got to look at it this way.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist, and
Right.
I support your president.
Yeah.
But I think he's drained the swamp now of the Republican Party in the last two elections because 12 Republicans aren't running this time.
They're retired. Yeah, they're leaving the sinking ship from the liberal side.
So
I guess.
if he has a landslide victory, they'll all be Republican Trumpers.
Yeah, probably.
And if they do this landslide, they'll wipe out a whole bunch of Democrats that are hardcore socialists. And what he could do in 4 years after what he's done in 2 will save your country for the rest of the century. It'll be cool to watch. I won't be around to watch it. My grandkids will, but we'll see.
All right. Let's take a quick phone call. Then we got to take a break at the top of the hour. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday to you.
Thank you for cheering me up.
Absolutely. Hey, I was just wondering.
Listen, after 2 days of watching these Democrats in that thing 2 days ago, I had to sit here for 7 hours. Okay, I want you to know, I gave up 7 hours on Wednesday to listen to these people for 6.5 hours. Wow.
On the made-up climate change stuff?
Yes.
Oh, it was they were outdoing each other. Warren gets up there. I've got $1 trillion plan for this. I have $1 trillion plan. And then Buttigieg gets up. I got a $2 trillion. Then they got to Bernie. I have a $16 trillion plan. It was like, oh my God. I was laughing. It was hysterical.
Wow. Yeah, that's thanks for putting the time in to watch that and getting all that information, but I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's Shane's job. He has to do that.
Hey, that's a good job to have. Hey, I was just wondering, when you guys were talking about Clinton having that double bypass, if that was in 2004, I don't know if Gore ever would have been president.
Well, he would have been president while the president's unconscious. That's just for that period of time is all.
But it was in 2004, so he wasn't president.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
But the point Tom was making is that in a case of that, the 26th Amendment, right, kicks in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That if the president's incapacitated, then the vice president is president until the president regains power. I was pointing out the Bush colonoscopy, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I understand completely. I'm just saying that I think that Clinton was president in 2004. Therefore, Al Gore was never president.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
true. That was my error. I was.
It was hypothetical. No, it was a hypothetical.
Clinton went out in 98, 99, I guess.
2000.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah. Then Bush came along. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just didn't want any of our liberal friends jumping on you,
right.
Tom. And,
I appreciate that. It's Friday and it's early and I'm old,
you got the righteous eagleman's back. I love it. You're the man today.
Everybody stays dry today and have a nice weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot. Stay dry out there. All right. All right. Well, good. That's a good way to end our segment here. Let's see. We got a couple birthdays we probably need to talk about. Let's see who we got in here.
Can we just bring up Pavarotti really quick for one reason?
If we have to, yeah. 2007, opera singer Luciano Pavarotti died at the age of 71.
And the reason I just want to bring this up, folks, is because he died of pancreatic cancer on the 6th of September 2007. We all know who he was. He was incredible. I did have the opportunity to see him in New Jersey at a concert with the Three Tenors in '96. But, the reason I bring this up is because your associate Supreme Court member, Miss Ginsburg, has pancreatic cancer. So
right.
she's had a lot of public appearances because I don't think she's long for this world because it's a terrible, terrible cancer.
Yeah, it is. Alex Trebek has come back from stage 4. He's going to do Jeopardy again. I saw in the news the other day. So the procedures may be getting better, or the treatments may be getting better for pancreatic cancer, but when you're 80 something years old, it's tough on you.
88.
Yeah, it's tough on you. So
Yeah. We'll see.
yeah. Also,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Also born on this date, Joseph P. Kennedy, the American businessman, ambassador to Great Britain, died at the age of 81, born on this date in 1888. Could have been the father of two presidents if they both hadn't got shot. Well, one was, and the other one probably would have been. We'd had two brothers again that would have been a president. So
made famous and wealthy being rum runner with the Canadians.
Yeah.
During Prohibition.
A bootlegger of high stature.
That's right.
All right, we got to duck out of here. We've got mental health coming up. Kevin Maxwell is going to join us 7 o'clock hour this morning, I think, 7 or 7:30. I'm not sure which. But anyway, we're going to talk about they got a suicide walk planned for Saturday. They're not going to commit suicide. They're going to walk for victims of suicide. So, if they're going to commit suicide, that'd be big news, but I don't think they will. But anyway, we're going to talk about the maybe some of the signals to look for and things like that when people are having issues with their life. And we'll be back with that right after the news at the top of the hour. Stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Friday, September 6, 2019, 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., 64 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of around 77 degrees today. And from our text line, 478-8298, Trebek has colon cancer. Well, that's pretty much incorrect because I looked up like 18 sources that confirm he has pancreatic cancer.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. It's pretty much all over the place. Let's see. U.S. Magazine headed back to work 5 months after announcing stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Health News Review diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and TV Line pancreatic cancer, and I could go on and on and on. But anyway, he's coming back to work. Stage 4. That's pretty serious. That's pretty much the end of the road for you.
Yeah.
So it's pretty remarkable that says a lot for the cancer treatments that are improving, I guess.
Well, the issue about it is the effort is to put it in remission.
Right. Exactly.
But
yeah.
It
could come back.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Cancer is always. There's always the possibility it will return in another spot or the same spot or whatever. And the other thing too, when it gets to stage 4, sometimes it will spread to other parts of the body, and that's where the real problem comes in. So if they can confine it to where it is and treat it locally, then I guess. But I think the survival rate something like 5 years. Or less. My brother died of pancreatic cancer, so it's not a welcome end to your life, certainly.
That's right, and the pancreas sits behind the stomach and breaks down sugar.
Right.
When it stops producing the enzymes that it does, then they give you insulin. But if it overproduces it, it creates a mass in the pancreas itself that becomes then cancerous, and as you say, it can be transferred to other parts of the body. If they catch it in time, which they can reduce it because of chemotherapy and radiation, but it's still one of those cancers that the survival rate is being extended. But you're, as they say in the medical field, you're on the clock.
Yeah. Well, I think so, and the older you are, the harder it is, and as we're seeing with the Justice Ginsburg, same thing.
Yes.
That she has been diagnosed with that, but yet back at work. But for how long, we don't know. She's determined to last till the election. And beyond, if Trump is reelected, she may make it till the end. I don't know. So she seems to have an amazing lease on life. Broke ribs. She's beaten cancer 3 or 4 times, I think, in various parts of her body. And she's a pretty remarkable gal. So you got to give her credit for that, even though she may fall asleep during deliberations. But you still gotta give her a hand up. Well, in local news,
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, local news: squirrels and bees are trumping bison. Shane.
Hey.
Yeah, the wildlife officials, U.S. wildlife officials, rejected petitions to save the bison, but they're going to save some bees and some kind of endangered squirrel in Nevada. So I don't know. We got squirrels and bees down in Nevada. They're on the endangered list or whatever. But we're not going to protect. We're not going to protect these national park bison herds. But they did pledge to consider protections for the other species, of course, a tiny endangered squirrel in Arizona, and bees that pollinate rare desert flowers in Nevada. So Arizona and Nevada are going to be trumping our bison here in Montana. So I don't know. Federal officials have previously said the animals are resilient enough and Yellowstone herds large enough to be no immediate danger of extinction. So, well, that's good news, I guess, if we got enough bison to maintain the herd.
Well, they come from the species Squirrelidae, and they are rodents, and they're basically tree squirrels, ground squirrels, chipmunks, and marmots. Woodchucks, flying squirrels, and prairie dogs are amongst the same species.
And that's it.
There you go.
Well, down in Gardiner, 42 people were sworn in as new citizens, Shane. That's a good deal down there, that people have done it the right way. They got in line and did their due diligence to learn the language and our laws and take the tests that most of us would fail. And now they're U.S. citizens. So
and our good friend who calls, and our good friend who calls every day, went and saw his new daughter-in-law become a U.S. citizen.
That's right. So that may have been, he may have been exactly there. There's a picture, but not sure that I see Clint in the picture, but congratulations to those folks.
Beautiful blonde woman. Look for the beautiful blonde woman.
Okay. I don't see one, but that's okay. I guess maybe another picture or somewhere else along the line. But anyway, yeah, it's, we see things like this and we feel that, I wonder how these people feel. The other day we were talking about Trump, the draft dodger, and during the Vietnam War and everything. And, shouldn't you be upset with that? Shouldn't these naturalized citizens that have done the work and done as they were supposed to, shouldn't they be upset with the people who are just walking across the border and not showing up for their court dates and not being, considerate of our laws to begin with, just, coming across the border of a country that is unfeeling, uncompassionate, and hates foreigners so badly that they want to get in here so bad.
Well, and the United States welcomes 1.4 million legal immigrants that become citizens this way every year. And that's more than the next 10 countries combined. Mm-hmm. So, like everything else, like we talked about climate change, and the U.S. is ahead of everybody. You're first, again, allowing people into your country legally. So, I think that they're probably the most adamant group that oppose illegal immigrants and people coming in here without proper documentation and responsibility. It's really... It's huge, yeah.
Well, and also, too, when they go into California, of course, they get a driver's license, whether they're legal or not. They can vote in local elections, whether they're legal or not. And I still don't understand the mindset of California. I read today that Trump is trying to do a deal where we'll trade Hong Kong for California. Because everybody in California wants to be communist and everybody in Hong Kong wants to be free, so we'll just swap the two, and California can be as communistic as they want.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, Xi would probably go for that. I think that's a deal he'd probably go for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think the people in California would go for it, but
yeah. Well, the most common path requires a person to hold a permanent residence card or a green card. You had a green card, right, Shane,
Yeah,
when you were
that's
in the
correct.
U.S., living in Billings and living in Bozeman and whatever. And the green card for 5 years before applying and for an additional 5 years after your initial application. So it takes a while to be a citizen of the
That's right.
United States.
My,
And that,
my sister Tammy is a naturalized
yeah.
citizen. Yeah.
An applicant must be able to read and write and speak English, be a
That's
person
right.
of good moral character, and pass the naturalization test to become a citizen. And one of the people here, the mother and daughter, the mother studied every day for 2 years to prepare for the test. So it's not an easy thing. So.
No, it's not. You have to know the Declaration of Independence. You have to know the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You have to know all the amendments to the bill because they question you about all of it.
Yeah.
So this is not a simple
and
thing.
how a bill becomes a law and all the things. Yeah, we had to pass a similar test to get out of the 8th grade into high school. We had to pass a government test to get out of grade school. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, it was the same way back in the 80s, and I don't think it's ever going to change because I'll just say the lady I married, who was from England, had to do the same thing, and that was back just around the time that Reagan, a little after we were married, Reagan kind of signed that amnesty bill. I think that was in '87 when he did it, and nothing's changed because the bureaucrats don't change, and the bureaucrat to me is one person who just signs the laws because they're just stupid, and all they really care about is themselves. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
They lose sight of the nation that they're the people they're supposed to be working for, and I don't see it's ever going to change.
Yeah.
So just get used to it. Have a good one.
All righty. Thanks for the call.
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Well, we heard the other day, Shane, that the path is clear for the Corps of Engineers to start building the wall with $3 or $4 billion worth of stuff, 175 miles of wall. You called it, of course, that would happen. And but of course, the news media is saying, well, look at all these things around the world that aren't going to happen. We're not going to have this. We're not going to have that. Well, Democrats, duh. You're the guys that sacrificed that deal. So don't blame Trump. We need.
Well,
it's obvious we need a wall. It's obvious to any right-thinking person that closing the portions of the border where people are just walking across is the smart thing to do. And we don't need 2,000 miles, but we do need certain areas closed.
The great quote of the last 10 years, I think, was they were for it before they were against it.
Yeah. Well, they were. If you go back and look at Schumer and all these guys talking about, even Obama saying people should not be here illegally.
Yeah.
And, when Hispanics weren't voting Democrat, oh, my God, we hate you. You don't come in our country. We don't want you here. Well, we're all for it, and even San Diego, I think, paid to put the wall up at Tijuana because the government wouldn't. And the people of San Diego were sick of these people coming in and, committing crimes and living off their tax money, and they had enough.
You know what we say when someone flagellates, right? Skunk smells it first, right?
Well,
no, but I'm using that analogy because can
you think of a better one?
Well, no, it's it's like Biden, and I have to bring this up because I watched that debate. And, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then he was on later with Kimball or whoever.
Yeah.
And your media has persecuted your president for being insane, mentally unfit, that it was right for them to talk about replacing him under the 26th Amendment, and all, for 2 years. And then you have this fellow come along that's going to run for president. And I'm sorry, Tom, but he is just not mentally capable of the job. You watch him like I did on Wednesday, and it's just not there. It's very sad. And they've started to.
Yeah.
They've started to make comments about it, but nothing as horrific as what they had to say about your sitting president.
True. Yeah. We've got a caller waiting on the line, Shane. I'm going to take a quick break here for a couple minutes, and we'll be right back. So hang on. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Friday, September 6, 2019. We have a caller waiting on the line. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Oh, this is Clint.
Hey, Clint, how are you?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a very enjoyable day yesterday.
Good.
Here at Gardiner, and listening to all the people talk about their various different countries and stuff like that. And there was 26 or 7 different countries represented there that the people became citizens, naturalized citizens of the U.S. The public, we were sitting in Montana, and the judge and the other officials and the park officials and the federal officials, FEMA and them, they were sitting in the park.
All right.
Yeah. That was and a wall there that's just below the arch. It's a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And our daughter-in-law was sworn in, and and Chet Lehman, he talked to her, on the television. She was on there last night.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, there was 26 or 7 different nations represented there. There was colored, there was white, there was every kind that you could imagine. And they do have to study.
Yeah. No, I understand.
The what?
I say I understand. Yeah, they do have to study. Yeah.
Oh, they got to study good. And then after it was all done and they were sworn in, we headed up to Mammoth. And we got up there alongside the river, and guess what? There was a jillion elk on the riverside, and about 15, 20 yards to the right of us was the biggest royal bull elk I ever saw in my life.
Wow.
And, of course, they're going into rut,
Yeah. Too bad it wasn't October. You could take that baby down.
I got out of the car, and she was taking pictures of the ones next to the creek there, the little river.
Yeah.
And I hollered at her, and her husband hollered at her, and she didn't pay much attention. But that bull would only had to made about 2 leaps, and he'd have had her.
Mm-hmm.
And that really bothered me, that part. But then we went on up to Mammoth, and my God, what a mess.
Yeah.
There is every country in the world represented there. They're according to the license plates.
Yeah, probably.
And you can go up there and pay $2.15 for a glass iced tea plus tax.
Wow.
But anyway, the whole day and the whole ceremony, we had to dodge a little dung down there from the bears and the and the elk and the deer there in the little field there. It was a beautiful place. And I asked the park ranger there, I said, do the bears come down? And he pointed to a little gulch there where the grizzlies come right down there onto the high school football field.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies do. So, but anyway, there was, like I said, there were some very happy people.
Good.
We welcomed them for citizenship to the United States. And there's one thing that most people don't realize. We all, Tom, you and I and Shane, we all come in one way or another as a undocumented citizen originally. We were just all immigrants. We came in, we were born here. I was, so was you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Shane was too, and then we were American citizens.
Yeah.
But when we came from every country in the world. And my family, they came from Wales, Ireland, and a few from Germany. And so we're a mixed breed of everything. All the people here are. And to have a country like we have today.
Everybody wants to get in.
That's right. And we can cuss the country all we want. We have free speech. and we can cuss not the country itself so much, but the politics.
Yeah.
I'm one of the ones that does it a lot. But the thing is, we have that right, and that right was given to us in our Constitution in the First Amendment.
Yep.
But anyway, that's all I got to say. It was
all right.
Enjoyable day. Our daughter-in-law's a naturalized citizen, and we're all happier than hell.
All right. Well, our best to your family, Shane. Clint.
Well, thank you so very much.
And the best to Shane's family, too. But all right. We'll be...
It's a nice feeling to see. And then I was reading, there's nothing, I was reading the document that they get, and then they have to sign this document. And the judge made sure that told everybody, be sure and sign this document. It wasn't signed yet. See, their name wasn't in it. Their written name. They have to write their written name in there.
All right.
But anyway, I just wanted to say it was a wonderful experience.
Well, good.
And like I said, there was 26 different nations represented there.
Yeah.
And so it's America's a wonderful place.
Amen. Hey, thanks for the call.
That's right.
All right, take care. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Well, I think that the wall's not it's gonna be a shift in demographics. It's gonna be good optics, but it's not gonna make a difference.
Okay. Well,
it's gonna shift more towards people coming in from Asia on planes.
That could be.
Ask Shane about Vancouver.
Yeah, they all come into Vancouver and they stay at Shane's house while they're waiting to get across the border.
Well, most Americans, I mean, I guarantee that the vast majority of American graduates from high school couldn't pass the naturalization.
No,
I agree.
No,
with
we
you
couldn't. No, we couldn't. I think we tried some of the questions on one of our shows, and it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, they've been dumbed down. They don't know what to think. But see, what's going to happen is there's going to be a shift. We need more mid-range Asian workers than we do low income south of the border workers. So the most discriminated group in America is Asian students.
Well, certainly a lot of them are. That's for sure. Yeah.
Asian college students are vastly discriminated against in admission to college. I mean, it's blatant.
Yeah. I got to go. Hey, thanks for the call, Benny. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. All right.
I don't blame you for not wanting to talk about it. Okay.
No, I don't. I don't want to talk about it. I'm up against a break at the bottom of the hour.
I got you.
All right. We'll be right back with more right after the news. 24 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6th, 2019, 64 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of 77 degrees today and lots of rain. Rain, and more rain, Shane. So Shane's in the rain.
You called it, Eagle Dad. You did.
We got it there. From our text line, 478-8298, God gives me my rights, not the Constitution. Well, yeah, it's probably some truth in that, huh?
Spiritually.
Yeah. What Clint forgot to say, and I don't think he forgot to say it, I think he was thinking it, what Clint forgot to say was that our ancestors came here in a simulated and became Americans, didn't try to change America. Also, you don't have constitutional rights in America until you're a citizen. Supposedly, you're supposed to have constitutional rights until you're a citizen, but the courts sure seem to protect everybody who's a non-citizen. As once their shoes hit the ground, you're pretty much get all the rights every American does, and a lot of people don't go for that. They don't go for that. Another thing I wanted to point out, we always hear that the country is built by immigrants. Well, to some extent, I think that's true. But what brought the immigrants here, Shane? I mean, Pilgrims landed in 1620, and we became a government, I guess, in 1778, roughly, when the Constitution was written and all that. And then we had an influx of immigrants in 1920 or in the 1900s, probably 1880 to 1930 or 40,
right,
somewhere in there is when the bulk of the people came. And the reason they came was because what the founding fathers and everybody else who were immigrants to some extent, except that most of the people that signed the Constitution were born here. They created a magnet for immigrants to come here. But the country, I would say, was built by settlers and trappers and, those folks that came and created a country that people wanted to migrate to.
That's right. And the brilliant thing about your Constitution as a republic, a constitutional republic, is, as we always say, it's the rule of the majority, so there's not mob rule, but the rights of the minority. And, the great aspect of the third leg of your government, which is the judicial branch, their job is to protect the minorities. And that's what's happened consistently throughout the history of your country. And, I think this whole issue about non-resident rights will come to a head in there's several cases that will end up in the Supreme Court to make that decision. And that'll be important because of what's happening. As I said, I think 2 or 3 days ago, the UN now has announced there's 85 million refugees around the world. 85 million people looking for somewhere to go. Wow. It's a serious issue, and it's going to only, increase over the next 50 years.
Well, I think that's certainly true. And the unrest, particularly in the Middle East, is providing most of the refugees.
That's right.
There's no place that you want to live under Sharia law very badly. Once you've seen freedom, it's kind of hard to embrace that backward, in our opinion anyway, that backward mentality of we want to live like we did 2,000 years ago.
That's right, and it's worse. Sharia law is worse than communism or socialism. And the amazing thing, if you go back and you read Mao's Constitution or Lenin's Constitution, Mao of China, Lenin of Russia, it's identical to yours. They basically wrote their Constitution based on the American Constitution, but as governments in both countries, or the way that they were run, they never protected them. There was never a judicial branch in either country with any ability to protect minorities or the people.
Yeah. I've got to take a quick break.
Yep.
We've got a caller waiting, Shane, so if you could talk to them, we'll be right back with more right after this. 16 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6, 2019. We've got a caller on the line patiently waiting that Shane's been interrogating, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, yes, has been interrogating me. It's Chris Griffin.
Yeah, what's up, Chris?
Hey, I just wanted to point out a subtle point that has been flowing underneath all of this, that the authors of the Declaration of Independence and the co-signers of our U.S. Constitution, not a single one of them was a U.S. citizen. So they were all people from elsewhere, and they were existing under Locke's natural rights law rather than the Constitution, because it didn't exist
they were citizens of England, and they were under the auspices of the British government. So they were citizens of England. I said to him, the point is that no one was a citizen until you adopted your Constitution.
Correct.
And it became an independent country. Then they became citizens.
Correct.
So weren't they all illegal immigrants to the country that they were deciding to be?
Because it was an established colony of Britain, so they weren't here illegally.
Okay, they may, but they were here illegally under the U.S. Constitution.
There was no Constitution when they came here. I'm
That's what
trying
I
to
said.
explain to him what an
That's what I'm saying.
oxymoron is, Tom. I'm not getting anywhere. Help me.
No. Here, I will define oxymoron because you've used that before, Shane. Oxymoron is a noun, a figure of speech which is apparently contradictory term to the conjecture.
Jumbo shrimp or military intelligence.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron.
Right.
Illegal immigrant, or being here illegally in the United States before the country existed is not an oxymoron. But I'll let you go, and I'll let everybody tell me what an idiot I am.
Okay.
Have a great day, guys.
All right.
Always
Thanks.
enjoy listening to you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for the call. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Was that Chris I heard on the phone?
That was Chris you heard on the phone.
Oh, it's Herbert, Tom. I really miss his voice.
Well, he calls every once in a while, so maybe he'll give you a fix every now and then.
Well, maybe you can get us hooked up with. Give me his number.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that. If you want to email me yours, I'll pass it on to him. And if he wants to call you, that's fine. You can email me at tom@kmmsam.com. Don't forget the AM, tom@kmmsam.com. And I'll be happy to send a thing to him. And if he wants to chat with you, more power to you guys.
Oh, I'd love to talk to him.
All right. Good deal. All right. Yeah. Okay. I guess that was it. All right.
Yeah.
Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on? Hello. Hello. Going once.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, sorry, guys.
That's okay. What's up?
Trying to connect to my Bluetooth.
Oh. Okay.
Hey. Oh, Chris Griffin. Oh, I missed him so much. Had a lot of arguments with that guy. That was, yeah. I don't want to diss on him, but that was kind of a poor argument. Weren't they all illegally here?
Well, I don't know if they were illegally here or not. I think they came with the British blessing. They didn't realize that they were going to take the country and not let Britain in. I think Britain was counting on a new source of revenue.
We all came to plunder, man. Right?
That's it. They came to plunder. They came to plunder. Exactly right. We're all descendants of plundering immigrants.
Yeah. So I just want to state, kind of hop to something else. I'm sure you guys have seen. It's crazy the things that happen in this world and how devastating things could be.
That's true.
The Bahamas thing, and I'm sure there's stuff all over the world happening. That we're pretty lucky to be where we are.
We are.
And I guess we could all be wiped off the map in a nanosecond if the Yellowstone thing happened. But it's a good life while we're here. So
let's enjoy it.
Let's be grateful. Let's be grateful for what we have, and
I'm down with that.
Excuse me.
Thanks for your show, guys.
All right. Hey, thanks,
Shane.
All right. Thanks for the show, or thanks for the call.
I want to remind people: 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. 5 signers were captured by the British and as traitors and tortured before they died. 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons serving in the Revolutionary Army. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds in the Revolutionary Army. 6 died bankrupt. And so they did give up their lives, their fortunes, and they sacrificed honor. So they were pretty remarkable men. They were.
Yes, they were. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Morning, gentlemen. This is Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Well, I like to diss on Chris Griffin because he is a blustering idiot. But anyway, because, I had many arguments with him, too, and the guy has no logic. And the liberal that he is, he can't come up with a valid argument to get anywhere. So then he starts to slander people and all that good stuff. So that's about all I got to say. You guys have a great Friday.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Weekend. Yeah.
Let's take one more call, and we got to take a break. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Yeah, this is Frank. Chris Griffin was the reason why I didn't listen to KMMS for 2 stinking years in the morning.
Okay.
It's like listening to fingernails on the blackboard.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yep, it was brutal, and I felt sorry for all the advertisers that his voice was used on. When I heard that voice, I turned the damn channel after the Chris Griffin show. So I know you're listening there, Chris Griffin, you big moron. Every now and then you got to crawl back out under that rock and grace us, but I say stay under the rock, pal.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with more right after this. 7 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6, 2019, 64 degrees outside. Looking for a high of 77 degrees today, Shane. From our text line, Chris Griffin breathes oxygen, and he is a moron. Is he an oxymoron? Don't know. Chris needs to call more often. Always makes it interesting. He's an idiot. You can't be illegal if there isn't a law. And how can you be an illegal immigrant to a country that doesn't exist yet? And what brings illegals here are employers, magnates who they know will hire them, jail employers who do this, and they will go home. And I would agree with that. We don't stress the penalties to the employers who hire illegals. We have raids all the time. We had raids last month, Shane, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
Some packing houses in Kansas or somewhere, and I haven't heard anything about any fines or anything against the employers of those people.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go. Exactly. That's the whole premise.
Well, the texture's exactly right on that point, because until they start putting some teeth into people hiring illegals, then nothing's going to change.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and when times are good and people are hiring, then here we go. But also, we wanted to point out that Dorian hit land, Cape Hatteras, and just hit land here recently. And we've been talking about this hurricane since a week ago Thursday, Shane, even before that. I mean, this thing is it's like the gas that wouldn't leave. It's just sitting here. It's just roaming up the coast, and there's going to be a lot of damage along the coastline, and a lot of jobs for folks.
Right, and I just just so people appreciate what we're dealing with this hurricane. Since 1851, there's been 298 North Atlantic hurricanes that produced hurricane-force winds in 19 states along the Atlantic coast. So, for all those out there talking about climate change and everything, this is just a natural process. Now, I want to give people this context real quick. So, when they crossed the Atlantic Ocean in the 16th century to get in the 15th century to get here, okay, they went to West Africa. They went from out of the Mediterranean or out of the North Atlantic down to West Africa, the Canary Islands. They'd refuel, so to speak, and then they would catch the westerly winds that came off the Sahara, which carried them across the Atlantic Ocean to where they came. And it's the same route the hurricanes take, and they're created from the sandstorms off the Sahara that blow out into the Atlantic, get absorbed by the moisture coming off the Atlantic. And as we all know, to create a raindrop or a snowflake, you need a piece of dirt. And, this is a natural process of the planet. And they occur not only there, but, of course, also in the Pacific. So it's just a natural cycle of the great atmosphere that we watch every day.
Yeah. Well, during the war, when the British were burning down Washington, D.C., it was they thought that it was a hurricane that put those fires out.
That's right.
It was off the coast. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, that's the story. So I'm going to stick to it if that's what it is. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I'll make it short. This is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. How you doing?
Debbie.
Great. Yeah, hi.
Miss that voice.
Pardon?
He's missed your voice.
I don't know. Change of weather?
No, he's missed your voice.
Oh, missed my voice.
Yes,
okay.
he's missed your voice.
One thing I'd like to correct. The immigrants, so-called, who came before, and I've said that previously, they were part of the country. They wanted to build America. Those irresponsible people who are coming here, so-called, they're uninvited. They don't want to build a country, and they're to take, not to give. And they are takers. That's what I have a problem with the immigrants. From Central America, from South America. You come here, you don't have a dozen kids, and we have to pay for it. No. Be a responsible parent. Few kids, that's where we succeeded, the whites. Of course, at that time, many had many kids. But right now, we're responsible. We don't have all these kids we cannot feed. Let's put it this way. Of course, there are many who will take advantage of it. But that's all what I have to say. That's what I have my problem with the so-called illegals.
All right, darling.
Clint's daughter was illegal, and she did everything as she's supposed to, and she's welcome here.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't have to when I applied received my American citizenship, I didn't have to know all the whole Constitution and all that. I still don't know most of it.
Well, they just liked you. That's why they let you in.
Right.
You're such a sweetheart.
Shane, you have something there. I totally agree. All right, fellas, have a great weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. Nice to hear from you, Debbie.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Okay, Polish Princess on the line. Always a pleasure to hear from Debbie.
100%.
All right, we'll be back. After news at the top of the hour, we got Fox News coming up, and we'll continue on with local news and 5 things you need to know. We'll finish out the week, and we hope you'll stay with us. And hey, don't forget, if you missed any part of the show, it's recorded and it's online. KMMSAM.com. Click on Tom and Shane's podcast. Take you right over there. All right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m., Friday, September 6, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Kevin Maxwell won't join us this morning. He has been delayed, unfortunately. But
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there is a walk to fight suicide on Saturday, September 7th. That's going to be at Lindley Park. For more information, or if you want to register to walk to fight suicide, this is from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's an Out of the Darkness Bozeman walk, and you can register at AFSP. That's the American Federation for Suicide Prevention, afsp.org/Bozeman. afsp.org/Bozeman. You get all the details over there. So if you want to walk to fight suicide, and we have more than our share of that in Montana, unfortunately. I think we're one of the leading states in suicides, actually. So it's a sad situation here. So anything that we can do to prevent that would be great. We were talking about Hurricane Dorian from our text line, 478-8298. Speaking of hurricanes, on this day in history, in 1667, a hurricane hit Virginia, lasted 24 hours with 12-foot storm surge, and blew down thousands of houses, killed cattle, and destroyed crops.
That's right. As I said, over 200 hurricanes since 1861. So. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing thing, and it's just a natural process. Natural process.
Yeah. From our text line, Trump didn't drain the swamp. He chased out real conservatives and filled his cabinet with Goldman Sachs partners and Wall Street billionaires and yes men. Didn't Obama do the same thing? Didn't he have a whole bunch of Goldman Sachs guys? He corrupted the GOP from conservatism to his New York liberal nationalism and protection. The liberals don't criticize his tariffs except to say they didn't go far enough. Well, they're bringing the Chinese to the table.
Yeah, that's right. And
they're feeling the heat. So
Totally.
they're going to sit down in Washington, no less. Yeah, they're coming to us.
Well, and not only that, but look, clearly, he influenced what went on in Hong Kong.
Oh,
because of his negotiations with him, and this is the amazing thing of the 21st century to realize that tariffs are on the table as a policy, a foreign policy use.
Yep.
And not only that, to protect civil rights, clearly, because that's what happened in Hong Kong.
Well, the threat of them certainly worked against Mexico. We certainly haven't had a caravan since they put all the people on the southern border and said, hey, you're not coming in here. And so, if you need any more demonstration that tariffs or the threat of tariffs work, Mexico is a perfect example. Clearly.
Yeah. And, of course, there's no outrage in Canada because we're just quiet people.
Well, I know, yeah. But, the other thing, we got to get that the NAFTA, whatever it is, whatever the new acronym is.
USMCA.
Yeah, I know. All I can think of is the village people. USMCA, da-da-da-da-da.
And once again, just to remind people, the Senate is the only body that authorized the approval of a treaty unless it requires funding. And, the great Pelosi will not bring it to the floor to be voted on because it requires funding to enact it. And so that's who's holding this all up, folks, not the Republicans, the Democrats.
Right.
Ones. Okay?
Yeah. Well, they are. Yeah, they're the ones that don't want to sign off on it because, that'll destroy Clinton's NAFTA agreement. And, oh, my God, we can't do that. We can't give Trump another victory.
That's right.
Exactly. In the long list of victories, anyway.
That's right.
From our text line, in a debate, and you know this, Shane, because you're a master debater.
I was indeed.
Yes, you were. In a debate, an opening statement is supported by evidence that leads to a strong, cohesive conclusion. Democrats, therefore, would lose every debate since all they ever text to your show is derogatory things about Trump with no main body of evidence supporting their conclusions. Thanks to CFO for that.
Yeah, and that's a pure definition, and it's correct. And all the people in government, all of them, they all debated, all of them, so they know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So if Obama had Goldman Sachs people in his administration, let's stack our cabinet with even more of them. Well, if they're just because they worked at Goldman Sachs doesn't make them bad people.
No, and again, people that are successful solve problems, and that's why he picks people like that because they give him advice about how to solve problems, and he listens to all the advice he gets from different people, and then he makes a decision. That's what an executive does, and that's what a president does well.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's we're better off because of the tax cuts. Obviously, it makes us more competitive around the world than we were before, and we're seeing. A prosperity that we haven't had before. We're seeing unemployment we haven't seen before in almost across the board. Women, blacks, Asians, Hispanic, you name it. They're, are down there. We're going to get job numbers sometime this morning. I don't know if we'll have those.
It was 160,000.
Was it? Okay. They were looking for 150 or 153. Something like that, I think, is what they were looking for. So they beat that estimate. So that's a good sign. And the market went up about 400 points yesterday because of the talks that China's coming back to the table.
That's right.
And positive numbers. We stopped hearing the R word mentioned very often, the recession word. So we may be able to avoid that bullet, but
well, that's right.
Bonds are still kind of tricky in there. They're still anemic, but
well, actually, not today. Today they've shown strength. Well, not strength, but I mean,
well, they're still at a point and a half for a 10-year. I mean that's
right. Well, no, the U.S. 30 went over 2%. Yeah, so that's good. But the U.S. 10 is at 156. So the bottom line is the value of U.S. bonds are up because people are buying them. That's a good sign, and the Fed's doing their job, and it's a monetary job because the value of the U.S. currency is premier. Right, cash is king.
Yep, that's it. From our text line, 478-8298, the USMCA is rebranded NAFTA. Duh. Well, yes, it is. And with more liberal wage goals, Trump is a marketing genius. Well, I have to agree. Rebrands and calls it new. Well, it's a rebrand. I don't think anybody's calling it new. It's a new treaty between three countries, but I don't know that anybody is saying it's something new out of the blue. Everybody knows it's a rehash of NAFTA.
That's right, but I just want everyone to know that as a Canadian, and most Canadians will agree, even the election we find ourselves in the midst of will show you, we want this new USMCA because, the cost with the egg board, cheese board, it's costing families in Canada like $4,000 more a year.
Yeah.
And, that's going to, one of the great things about your president, we talked about this a year ago when he did this, how grateful I was for Canadians that he did, because he has to break the monopoly those industries have on Canadians, because it's not fair, and there needs to be competition. So
yeah, you pay
Pelosi, get this done because you're hurting Canadians. Okay, yeah. You're hurting Canadians.
You get this, cheese, eggs, chickens. You pay ridiculous prices in Canada for those things, and you're 30% less than the dollar. So
that's right. I bought a dozen eggs every week, and this week was $4.56. $4.56 for a dozen eggs.
For a dozen eggs, wow, yeah. And
a pound of cheese is $12.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Chicken's what, 25, something like that, or
well, for a large full chicken, yeah. I mean, it's
that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, So, the USMCA, and I'm telling you, the only reason the Democrats are against this is because they don't want to give Trump another victory. Just
100%.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
No.
So, the other thing in local news that we should probably chat a little bit about is Highway 191.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. If you've ever driven that monstrous stretch from Bozeman to Big Sky, particularly in the winter, you're definitely a white knuckle driver, because you got 80-mile-an-hour logging trucks coming at you on icy roads, like it's the middle of summer. And so they finally decided that maybe we might want to think about doing something with this road. And they're doing a study. And, of course, a study costs $200,000 and will be paid with federal money that the State Department of Transportation receives. So they're going to do this test, I guess, of what they can do better. They could be adding traffic lights, changing speed limits, expanding the roadways in certain parts, because you've got turnouts. That if you're a white knuckle driver and you get 20 cars behind you, you can turn out and let them go on by, and then you can resume them.
Well, I told you that road trip I took, to come down for Tammy's birthday. Coming down from Idaho to Missoula or past Missoula, there was like 200 miles where we shared, 2 lanes of highway.
Oh yeah.
And the other side was shut down, and nothing was going on it. And there was no construction. It was just shut down. So it's, where's the outrage, Thomas? Come on.
I don't know where I have no idea where the outrage is. There should be an outrage for this. I don't know. Anyway, I'll be outraged while we take this break. So we got to hear from Bozeman Auto Body and Progressive Insurance right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. It's 19 minutes after the hour, Friday, September 6th, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Shane has a caller on the line. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
I was speaking with Shane, and that's what I wanted offline.
You're double dipping.
Don't bring it on the public yet.
Okay.
It's a negotiation. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll do.
Her question was that you have one retirement home, and she wanted to know what the situation was with the other two.
Oh.
If they're being, maintained or will remain open, or
yeah,
what's going on.
we talked about this a month or two ago, I think, when the Galton rest home was in trouble.
That's right.
The other two are operated by a different group, I think, out of North Dakota, and they are doing quite well. They have no problems, and we're not sure what's going on with the Gallatin Health, but we don't know. So
all right.
The government, the county rather, has given them some money. And they're trying to get grants and whatever from other sources, but it doesn't look good for them.
I know it's. I'll tell you, this whole issue of care for the baby boomers, it's going to get bigger. 18,000 retiring a day now. For another 10 years, this is going on.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, the USMCA is virtually exactly the same as NAFTA. New name, NAFTA, removed virtually all tariffs. Canada's protectionism is not a result of NAFTA.
That's funny.
Well, you live there. You tell us. You tell us.
I'm the one that told you that last year's G7, when our prime minister came out and said, these tariffs on steel and aluminum are terrible, and I apologize to everyone because we have 15,000 tariffs on American goods. So seriously, give me a break here.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So
no.
All right. Well, let's see. In other news, we've got Headwaters Academy wants to move. They're looking at a new space at 1005 Durston Road. Right now, they're operating out of the Lutheran Church, and the school was on West Garfield for about 28 years. And as I said, they've been operating out of the Lutheran Church. So some officers are housed in a historic home at the Durston Road location, and the log building is said to have had once been the home of John Durston, a Syracuse newspaper editor hired by Montana Copper King Marcus Daly to be editor of the Anaconda Standard.
That's right. It was a big newspaper back then.
It was a big newspaper back then.
It's like Cut Bank. It went back in the 50s. Cut Bank was 58,000 people. Now it's, I don't know, 1,500. But, I mean, in the 1800s, Butte was so big they built an opera house.
Yeah,
I know because I performed in it in 1976.
You're the guy. You are the guy. Well, from our text line, it just never ends. 478-8298. Gary Cohen, former president of Goldman Sachs and chief economic advisor to President Donald Trump. I don't think he was a economic advisor. He was an attorney, wasn't he?
Yes.
Gary Cohen, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Quit because Trump wouldn't listen to him about tariffs. Cohen was against tariffs. Well, duh.
Yeah.
Who is? Who's for him? He tried to school.
Not banks. Yeah. Banks are not for it.
Yeah, banks are not for it. He tried to school Trump that trade deficits simply mean the dollar is strong. Well, that's not smart, I don't think.
No.
And certainly not a reason. The dollar is strong right now because of interest rates and everything else that's going on.
Well, and again, I just want to make this comment and observation. One of the things Trump wants out of this treaty with China forever is the U.S. banking industry that has to have access to the Chinese market to be competitive. It's got to be. And they don't want that because they're a fascist country and they control all the banks. Now, in Hong Kong, every global bank is represented in Hong Kong, which is okay for the Chinese because it's to their advantage. So, for someone to not realize that bankers, may not be in favor of tariffs, they want access to that Chinese market.
Sure they do. Yeah.
Eternity. Right,
yeah. Let's see. Continuing on with the same rant, Trump replaced Cohen with TV host and Yes Man Larry Kudlow. Ironically, Kudlow railed against tariffs for years on his TV show, Upside Down World. Well, people do change their mind from time to time. I know I certainly have on some positions.
Well, what's the old adage? If it works, don't fix it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Except for dairy, can Shane provide a list of those thousands of tariffs on American goods?
Oh, you can go on and look it up. I mean, there are all kinds of things.
Well, there's automotive parts, I know, is one.
Yeah.
Almost all the agricultural products.
Right, and we produce 80% of the car parts to your industry. So there you go.
Sorry, Gary Cohn, not Michael Cohen. Yeah,
Michael.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Michael Cohen was the attorney.
Yeah.
So, sorry, got that.
That's right.
We'll apologize. Got that incorrect. And but yeah, you're. Oh gosh, I forget all the things that we get from you. Well, oil, one.
The single largest importer of oil to the U.S., 1.5 million barrels a day. Yeah.
So there's a lot of tariffs on the products and things that you send us.
There's no question about it. Yeah.
And I don't think Trudeau wants to give that up, but.
Well, no, because that's his father instituted these boards back in 1972. So it's a family legacy.
Yeah. So we can't do that. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, and of course, being a socialist himself, Trudeau, I'm talking about, has the ear of AOC and all the groups and all the socialists in the Democratic Party who don't want the agreement to go through. So,
well, when he became prime minister, our debt was $600 billion. It's now $697 billion. He's at less than 4 years. He's added $97 billion to our debt. Well, in that one.
Yeah.
No outrage here. Ooh.
Well, no, I guess not. Anyway. Oh, let's see. We should put a tariff on abortion, help cover the economic impact of our lowered population. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well,
after what Bernie Sanders said in that town hall meeting 2 days ago.
I know. What an idiot.
No, it just, we've talked about this on, and someone asked him basically, what would you do to, stem, the world population? The planet can't sustain it. And I want to remind everyone once again, 1900, 500 million Muslims, 1975, 1 billion, and today 1.8 billion. So by the end of this century, there'll be 2.5 billion Muslims in the world. Why? Their birth rate's 8-1.
Yep.
So demographics, folks, population demographics are going to shift the world population by death. And in the millennials' lifetime, they will see the population of the planet probably drop as much as 3 billion people.
All right. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Oh, just a quick comment on that USMCA. It's a real shame, and everybody should call their congressman and get them to get a vote on that. I mean, it allows us the capacity as free nations to compete against the powerful Asian manufacturing markets, and helps all of us increase the stability of our economies, as well as create a tremendous amount of jobs south of the border of the United States, which would probably stem a lot of the illegal immigration coming into America, because the people would have jobs down there.
Yep.
So, I mean, that could be part of the reason that some of the Democrats are holding up, not to be totally partisan, but
yeah,
it's
no,
a real shame.
they want those voters to come in, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a whole other thing. I mean, we all need to be aware of what's going on here. These guys are just ignoring everything and pitting us against each other, so that rather than recognize the ineffectiveness they've given us the past decade or more, we fight against each other. So,
hey, thanks for the call. I got to go. I'm up against the clock. Hey, thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.
And
we'll be right back. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Friday, September the 6th, 2019, 63 degrees outside, and Shane's got a correction he needs to make.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping you'd whack me for this. 130,000 jobs in August, not 160,000. My apologies to our listeners.
Yeah, he just can't read, so.
Yeah. Numbers are hard for me early in the morning, yeah.
Well, that's the 20,000 less is the bad news, but there's also more bad news, Shane, because the increase fell short of the 150,000 expected. But the unemployment rate did stay at 3.7, but while non-farm payrolls increased by just 130,000 in August, part of that was due to the temporary hiring of census workers. So it wasn't really all that great of a jobs report. And July and June job figures were also revised lower. The good news is the average hourly earning has increased in August, and it's up 3.2% over the year, better than expected. And excluding government hiring, private payrolls grew just 96,000, the lowest pace since February. So not good. Not a good report at all. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, good morning, Tom and Shane.
Pete, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah.
It seems that some people are bending Trump's ear for a new, I don't know what you're going to call it, agency. We had DARPA, or the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Now they want to start a new one. And the new one will be the Health Advanced Research Projects Agency. And this story was in I believe it started, I can't find an earlier thing, it started out in the Washington Post, if you can believe them. But it will be inside Health and Human Services, but it will have its own funding. And what it is, it's basically they want a social credit score here. If you got what is it, Alexa, watches, Apple, and the agencies that exist that will be involved in it are DARPA and the NSA. You'll have a bevy of shrinks and big tech. Big tech will collect the information. It will be passed on to the shrinks. The shrinks will decide whether or not you should own a gun or not.
Well, of course.
And I'm telling you.
That lets me out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these guys are off the rails. And one of the senses that citizens' behavior will be tightly surveilled and then met with rewards or punishment.
Right.
Now, when I read that sounds to me like, the lab rat.
Yeah.
If you don't make it through the maze, you don't get the reward.
You don't get the food, man.
You get punished, right?
The carrot and the stick.
Right.
That's exactly right.
But if you go, if you go and do a search for HARPA, I'm sure you can find it. It's pretty interesting.
Well, China's doing that now, are they not? They're measuring everybody's conduct and punishing them or rewarding them accordingly.
But the problem with the plan is not everybody has Alexa or watch. I don't even have a smartphone, okay? Yeah. So if that's, you understand what they're aiming at. If they want to solve this problem, these shooters, 90+% of them are all on one drug or another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Luvox, Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, you name it, and even Ritalin is not, you know, good for you. So if you want to, you know, ban the drugs, ban the damn things. You know, and the other thing they should do not allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise on TV. We're the only two countries that do it, us and New Zealand, I believe. You know, and if you're on one of these drugs, it's the doc. I can have a conversation with. If I'm a doctor, Tom, and I say to Tom, you know, you want to get on this Zoloft because you have, you know, you're suffering through depression, blah blah blah. But here's the deal: if I prescribe this drug and you begin to take it, I'm going to have to, you know, report this to the background check people.
Right.
Okay, and they'll you know, put you on the no gun list. So if you want to give up your Second Amendment rights, if you don't mind doing that, here's the drug, take it. Now, if you want to get off the drug, get your Second Amendment rights back, you got to be off the drug for a year or more.
Yeah. So
because we know, I mean, they know the side effects. It's right on the insert in these drugs of what they can do to you, and I'll guarantee you wouldn't see nowhere, you wouldn't have any mass shootings. Get these drugs out of here. The guy would have to be totally nuts on his own. But these drugs are not good.
Well, Shane's evidence of that.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And as we talked about, you know, there's already qualification for this, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, and the Health Information Technology, that's HIPAA, and the Health Information Technology of Economic and Clinical Health Act, HITECH, which was, you know, done in 2009. So, I mean, it's more of what? More of what they already have? Like, yeah, well, again, it's overreach. It's called overreach, right, Pete?
It's not about gun control, it's about people control.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Elon Musk is out there saying next year you can go to your local mall and we'll put a chip in your brain. What?
Well,
I mean,
it's about time.
Yeah, it's about time is right. You know? Give me 2 chips. I'm going to Las Vegas.
I gotta say,
what do you think about CVS and Walgreens joining Walmart now? About, you know, please don't come into our stores with a gun. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ain't that interesting? And the CDC and the FDA are they're not even government agencies.
Yeah.
They claim to be, but they're right. The revolving door between those two agencies and the big pharmaceutical companies and the pesticide companies and everything else is sickening. And it's been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know when we're going to smarten up, but you know, I don't. If your body doesn't produce a chemical, you don't need it. That's the way I look at this. You don't need it. You know, they're going to change the way you think. They're going to manipulate your brain with a chemical. That's what it is. You can call it a drug all day. They're chemicals.
That's true.
Okay, and though, you know, some of the side effects, well, they're not side effects. They're effects.
Well, true. Yeah.
You know, I mean, give me a break.
Well, if you listen to the ads on TV, the side effects are usually worse than the problem, whatever they're trying to cure. You know?
They'll kill you.
Yeah,
or you'll kill somebody else.
Well, you'll have stomach pains, diarrhea, headaches, high blood pressure. You know, suicidal thoughts, whatever.
Excuse me. The only smart thing I've heard from a Democrat in the last 2 days was actually De Blasio, who last night suggested there should be a employment tax on robots. If businesses which are being subsidized to replace people with robots, and apparently your government's spending hundreds of billions of dollars in providing tax relief to companies to enhance robotics in their industry, then they should put, like, you know, if American worker is going to be charged an income tax, there should be an income tax on a robot that a corporation has to pay. I think it's a great idea. I think a robot should be charged to work in American industry, and the company should pay into the treasury for that robot to be there, not replacing a worker.
Right. They're going to tax inventory.
That's right.
I mean, you know,
why not?
They'll say it's just a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, did you hear what Rush said the other day? And I don't remember what day it was. He said the Republicans that are leaving the party are retiring early.
Yeah.
Or retiring. Republicans are being blackmailed into retirement. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's more likely that they're being threatened or bribed.
Well, that may be. Yeah. We need somebody younger and whatever than you are, pal. So get out.
Yeah, it's a deal. But
all right.
I mean, I don't know. It kind of shocked me that Rush would even say something like that.
That's true.
I guess when the conviction must be strong.
Apparently. All right, man. Thanks for the call.
You bet. Enjoy the rain.
All right. Appreciate it. All right, Shane, we got a caller waiting on the line. We've got to take the Rush update here, so we'll be right back. Here's Rush. 8 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, September 6th, 2019, 64 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of in the 70s, upper 70s today, and lots of rain. It looks really dark outside, Shane. Boy, Michelle Wolf is sitting over there. She's not blocking out any sunlight at all. So, well, if you hadn't heard, Hurricane Dorian has made landfall in North Carolina. 90-mile-an-hour winds, storm surge of up to 7 feet. So Cape Hatteras, I believe, is where it landed. They are going to be in up to their ears in water in that area.
Yeah.
So it's there's going to be a lot of damage along the whole east coast of the United States. And I guess the upside of that is there'll be a lot of jobs there. A lot of people are already probably heading east to apply for work, and there's going to be a lot of rebuilding needed, and particularly also in the Bahamas. What a mess. Boy, those poor people down there. The death toll so far is I can't believe the death toll so far is only 30, but I guess they're sifting through all this. I think that's going to rise. 70,000 people there, and the thing sits over the Bahamas for what, day and a half? Something like that.
Hours, yeah.
Wow. I mean, come on. Man, that's bad for those folks over there.
It's a coral reef. Abacus Island, and it's 26 feet above sea level, so it's a coral reef with a bunch of dirt on it and housing, and the surge was 26 feet.
I know, yeah.
So for 36 hours, so it was underwater for 36 hours. Nothing left. Nothing.
Yeah. No, it's a sad situation for those folks down there, and boy, they're going to need a massive rebuilding there. It's going to take probably a decade or more. Get that place back in shape.
And your country will do the most to help those
we
people
probably
than
will.
anyone else.
Yep, we probably will. Yep. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I'm sorry. I don't have time to feel sorry for these people in the Bahamas. When we have police officers who have to change their clothes in a not fancy locker room, guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Okay. Talking about the Law and Justice Center, I guess.
Exactly,
I spoke for the Law and Justice Center because the police are in the restrooms hanging their clothes in the restroom.
Didn't you talk about that yesterday? Being homeless, we were calling it clean yourself out of a sink. It's
right.
A sink dip. Remember?
Yeah, sink bath. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's where they are. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to hang my clothes in a restroom in the current Law and Justice Center. So we'll see. But that's coming up in November. We're gonna have a vote on that in November. So make your voice heard. Turn out and vote for or against whatever you think is best for you.
Yeah, and don't be a plurality. Don't 35% of you go out and vote. 50, 60% of Bozeman, Gallatin Valley, you get out and vote on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it a real vote. Make it a real choice.
Yeah, make it interesting. Well, they're also going to have the park fee on there as well, I believe. The $200, $16 a month pizza park fee will also be on the ballot. So, we went through this with the jail. We had like 3 ballots, I think, before the jail finally passed and got that done. And every time it was more money. So
the high school,
the high school, a lot of the safety center where the city decided, well, we're just going to go our own way because we need this. And it's I don't know. You're in some cases you feel tapped out. I'm taxed to the brink. I don't need another levy or another tax or another lien or whatever it is, or a bond, whatever that I've got to pay for. But on the other hand, well, I want law enforcement. I want, officers that have a, comfortable place to do their business and whatever. But, and I want the courts, and we're going to have to expand the court system anyway. And do we stay in an old building that is going to get older, or do we go into a building that's going to grow with us in our future growth here in the city and the county? So
you got to have the back of the guy that could die any day trying to protect you.
You certainly think so. That would be the primary thing there. And also, I think they're going to move the fire department into there from Rouse as well. So, it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of a situation with the L&J. So I personally, myself, I think I am going to vote for it, if you want my vote on the Law and Justice Center, because the longer we put it off, the more it's going to, it's just going to keep rearing its ugly head, just like the jail did. And,
that's correct.
And you either do it or you don't. And, I'm not advising anybody how to vote. Vote your own conscience. I'm just telling you my thoughts on it, that, I think it's a necessity that we need. I don't know that we need the parks fee. The city commission kind of put theirself in that bind to live within your means, folks. If you're going to insist on parks in every subdivision, then, hey, that's your responsibility to take care of them.
Well, in Canada, we have a national police force called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Mm-hmm. Wonderful, great history. But if you want them in your riding or in your town or your city, in your rural area, you have to pay the cost, or a large portion of the cost to have them, number one. Number two, yes, we have sheriffs, but they're strictly for court duty. We don't have sheriffs like you do in every county that are elected. So it's a real important thing as a country to sustain your police force, because, folks, without it, it's anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Let's take a quick phone call here. Well, I don't know if we got time for it. We'll try it anyway. Caller, got 60 seconds. Go.
Read your dang text once in a while.
Okay. That'll work. Thanks for the call. All right. That's a great call in Friday, huh, Shane?
Yeah, we're over with Friday. Talk to you Monday, Mayor. Looking forward to a great weekend. And everyone, be happy, be safe. God bless.
All right. All right, that does it for us. We thank everybody for all your texts and calls and all of that. Just want to be clear, Walmart asked for no open carry. Concealed is okay. And does Shane agree with liberal protectionism? As a businessman, I can't do business as I please. Must pay tax on robots. Well, we didn't have time for me to go into. I disagree with the tax on robots, and maybe we'll talk about that on Sunday, or Monday, rather. I'm not going to be here Sunday. No way. We'll see everybody Monday morning, 6 a.m.